Hey everyone, I wanted to take a minute and tell you a little bit about the clothing and shoe categories and why I think you're potentially missing out on a huge money-making opportunity in these two categories. So let's get started. Number one reason you should be selling in clothing and shoes is really there's less competition. I mean, there are listings where there's a lot of competition on them, just like any category. But overall, these two categories are largely unsaturated and there's a lot of opportunity. The main reason I enjoy selling in these categories, besides there being lower competition and my prices tend to stay pretty stable as I sell through things, clothing and shoes sell all year. So you're not going to get tied up in the thought that summer is coming. Summer's the slowest time for online sellers, or at least it used to be. But we were toy sellers. Toys made up 50% of our catalog, and so when summer hit, sales slumped. But when you sell clothing and shoes, you can sell merchandise all year, and it allows you to predict your sales. You're able to have more stable sales rather than the peaks and the valleys that we often see. So clothing and shoes, it sells all year. Different styles depending on the weather. So definitely an opportunity there. The next two I want to talk about are going to really pertain more to shoes, although you are going to find items in the clothing category that this happens with, but specifically in shoes, you're going to have a higher average selling price. And so what does that mean? When you have a higher average selling price, it means that you can move less units and still sell the same amount of dollars. And often, when you have a higher ASP, average selling price, you end up with a higher net profit. So again, you get to make more money moving less units. So these are just some of the reasons that I think you're missing a huge opportunity if you're not selling in these categories. So there's also some pitfalls and some mistakes that can happen when you sell in clothing and shoes. And after selling in these categories for a little over a year, I guess almost 18 months now, I think I've made every mistake that you can. And that's probably not true. I'm sure there's a few others I'll make. But I've definitely made a lot of mistakes and learned some lessons along the way. So one thing you have to consider in these categories is the item rank. So the way the item rank works in toys is, here's your toy, and it has a rank of 10,000, which means this toy sells. It's the 10,000th best-selling toy. The way it works with clothing and shoes is you have this style of shoe, but you have about 10 to 15 different color variations. And then on each variation, you have all of those sizes. So the rank on the listing is for everything on that listing, every variation. So it can become very difficult to tell if the shoe you're buying is really ranked 1,000, or if maybe that particular color variation would really be ranked closer to 80 to 100,000. And there are ways to kind of figure this out, but rank is one of those things that it's a little bit different in clothing and shoes. Number two pitfall I've seen myself and I've seen many others fall into is, especially with shoes, there can be a slower turn rate. So we are sellers that like to turn things within 30 days. And with shoes, this isn't always the case. It might be 2, 3, 4 months before that particular style and that particular color and that particular size sells for you. So you're going to have to outlay some capital to build inventory. Again, this is more specific to shoes. I don't run into this problem as much with clothing. So with shoes, you do need to set some sort of a budget, a sourcing budget, and stick to it. Because it's going to take a few months of building your inventory before you actually start seeing the results from your efforts. So these are just a few of the pitfalls that I and others have run into. But here's the good news. I co-run a group called Your Sourced Inventory with REA, and in that group we've provided a lot of education around these two categories, and we have something exciting to announce. We are launching a premium Facebook group called YSI Sourcing Insights. And in this group, we're going to be sharing not only leads and profitable products, but also how we make buying decisions for these categories, what works, what doesn't. We're there to answer questions. We're going to be putting out video content and a lot of good things to come. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes, so you guys can come in and join the group. It is a paid monthly group. Again, it's a premium Facebook group. And in there, we're going to talk all things clothing and shoes, every little pitfall that you could run into, every mistake, every technique, every sourcing tool that we use or have come across. We're going to talk about it. Because it is YSI Sourcing Insights, to help you grow, we're going to be talking about other sourcing strategies. We'll talk about other categories and other sourcing methods as we grow, and that will help you with your e-commerce business. So come on over. The link is down in the show notes, down in the description. Give it a try. Come and join and learn a little bit about the opportunity in these categories and how to make the most money in these categories with the least amount of mistakes. Can't wait to talk some more. Bye, guys.